Recording.
Okay. So just because we've got Brian and Judy missing, I'm going to reset what we've just done. Sorry. And so you know, Brian and Judy, we've discussed this photograph. There's elements what we know what to do. There's some work in Photoshop needs to be done, and there's some we can do in Lightroom. And also when we're in Photoshop, we can also revisit what we've done in Lightroom if we need to make any adjustments. So we've all agreed in the class. Now we've got all the copy of this, and we will send you a copy of this via WeTransfer or your email so you can follow along. So the first thing we're going to do, as we've said, is we're going to get the drawing pen. Auto used to be here, Judy and Brian. Now it's here. So we're going to click. So Margaret's going to click that on auto, and it should give us an improvement. There we go. And this is purely simple enhancements, because we all know when you get there, you get the light that you get, or you say, I'll come back later and I'll do something else. Now then, I'm saying that on Judy, on Margaret's thing, we've got both the shadow clipping and also the highlight clipping. So
you need to get rid of the meeting is being recorded off the big screen.
I've not got that on. Who can see what you're recording? I have not got anything on my screen, and I've got nothing on Margaret's.
I haven't got it on. You haven't got it on, have you? So what's?
No, it's just on Roger's big screen.
That'll be on
Roger's one.
Roger.
click the got it on the thing.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because you've not accepted it. Okay. Has it gone now?
Not on yours. Yeah, it's gone now.
Okay, brilliant. So, Margaret, can you clip on the triangle that I've highlighted on the histogram on the top left corner? And that you can see showing where the shadows are. So there are some blacks in there which are black. And what about the whites, Margaret? And the whites are there. Now, Margaret's got to make a decision now that if we continue, we've got highlights that are blown and we've got shadows that are black. Now, I don't mind some black shadows, because why can't we have black? And to some degree, why can't we have white? But if there's some textures on the boat and those houses, it may be that Margaret wants to come down and pull the whites back just a fraction. So let's go to 40. There, that's it. Now, bear in mind that it has now made the whole overall picture a little bit darker, which I'm not too worried about, because we're going to paint some of the areas in here that we'd like it to be looking better. So I think we've got the basis of a good start. Now, what about, we've got three sliders on there: texture, clarity, and dehaze. I think they're really good, but be very, very wary, because if there's any artifacts or anything in there, it may actually make it difficult when you come to do certain things in Photoshop, because it's making edges a lot crisper. So the texture, what you could do in the old days, you would do this at your peril, because when you go into Photoshop, you create an image, you can't go back and turn that down. But we have now the chance that if we change that, we can always readdress it once we're in Photoshop. So, Mark, if you want to have a little bit of clarity, because Margaret made the comment that she took this picture because she loved the texture on the stone. And I agree, the stones is, you know, it shows the rugged character of the Cornish coast and how they use these big stones in the marinas and in the little areas, little docks and harbours. So Margaret's made an announcement to that. Now then, over to, I'm going to say, I started off with Ron and then we lost it. So Ron, we said on there what we would do, and you said we can go to Photoshop. We can. So let's go down to Roger. Roger, what else would you consider at this stage? Bear in mind, Margaret's made a very correct decision, saying that this bit here she doesn't like, and this bit up here she's not keen on. Is there anything else we could consider before we start looking at pixel changes? And I'm just going to put my graphics tablet on. Is there anything else you think we could consider?
I would probably do something with the sky.
So something with the sky. Now then, remember, we have got a facility in here to mask and work on the sky. Yeah? Margaret, are you happy with the sky, or would you prefer a different sky?
I'm happy happy with the sky. Just
Good, that's okay. It was purely a question. It wasn't a trick question. The reason being, of course, is that if you consider we're going into Photoshop and you suddenly say, well, actually, I wish the sky were a bit better, you can always do a sky replacement in Photoshop, but are you happy with it? So we can look at this and see what it can yield. So let's go into the mask then. So should we go into a mask then, Louise? Would that be ideal?
Yes.
So we're going to go into mask. So what we're going to select when we get here, don't show her, Margaret. Ah, you've been too quick for her.
I've already done it.
Yes, guys, I've
Okay, now then, notice something. Margaret has docked her mask panel. When you open up your mask panel and you choose sky, am I right in saying it's not in that panel, it's actually on the image? Is that correct?
Yeah.
yeah.
So Margaret's going to show you how she did that. So if you grab that, Margaret, and drag it out of there. There you go. So that's what you probably all got, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's
If
smaller.
you prefer it in the dock, Margaret can drag it. And if she drags it back to the panel on the left, you'll see a blue line appear. Wherever that blue line is where it's going to put it. So you can actually keep it in there. Okay. Are you all happy with that so far?
Yeah.
Are you all doing the same as what Margaret's doing?
Yeah.
Good. Now notice it says mask 1 at the present moment. Is that correct?
Yes.
What is a mask made of?
Pixels.
Components. Remember we said a mask is made up of components. And you can have 3 components in one mask. So at the moment, if you want to change that, you can change that and rename it to sky if you wish. It's good to keep a track of what you're doing, especially if you know you're going to go into Photoshop as well, because you can keep a track of what you're doing. Now, if you click on the sky again, Margaret, on the actual mask, it should open it up into the elements. And these are elements. Remember, these are elements. Let me just get rid of this. And I'll redraw. These are elements. Okay. So this is the overall mask, this one here. So that's your mask. And I will get my graphics tablet connected to Bluetooth in a second. And these are your components. How many components can you have in a mask?
any as you want.
Correct. Why not? So you can have multiple, I mean, you might have sky, you might add something, you might subtract something, you might intersect. And intersect, you've still not got the hang of that, but it is a brilliant mask, a brilliant way of doing masking. And I'm pretty happy that it's selected well. Can you notice though, Margaret, you've got some bleed over here.
Yeah.
And some here.
Yeah.
So let's go down now then. Linda is the next on my picture list. How can we remove that bleed?
I would create a new mask with a brush.
Ooh, now then, let's think about this. Remember, we've got components.
Can you just take away?
Yeah, you can subtract
It's
it.
subtract.
Correct. So we can subtract. So if Margaret hits the subtract, you all can do this, and we're going to get the brush. Now we could try and subtract the foreground, but if it's struggling to see the foreground of the sky anyway, it might struggle to do an inverse. So what you could do is inverse it and then tell it to remove it from the mask that's called background. But let's just paint that over. So Margaret's going to paint that over. And remember, if you make a mistake, you can always, you'll notice, let me just explain what Margaret's doing for those that aren't 100% sure.
Where it's hit the building.
Margaret is using the subtract. So she's used the subtract button. She's chose the brush. And notice this icon here showing subtraction. Yeah, it's subtracting. And she's got a flow set at 99. She could have it at 100. And I would suggest that if you're going to have those on, Margaret, put them both to 100. So what's the difference, Teresa, between flow and density? You don't know? Okay. Flow is how much it puts down per stroke of the pen. So, for example, Margaret, I'm just going to take over a second. If I put a line here on, and the flow was set to 10 here, so let's say that flow here was set to 10. Every time I put the pen across here, that's number 1. When I do it again, it'll add a 2. and then again 3. So now it would be 30. Can you see what I mean? So each time you do a stroke on flow, if it was set to 10, to get a total flow of 100%, you need to do it 10 times, because 10 10's 100. Is that correct?
Yeah,
You all happy with that?
yeah.
So that is flow. So what is density? Well, density is, we're going to call it the ceiling. So if you was to say that you set the ceiling at 30 and you got your density set at 10, once you've done 1, 2, 3, you wouldn't go any higher. Density is the maximum that you can do in that area. It's to stop you doing too much. So density is the ceiling level. It's the maximum amount of work you can do in that area set in that brush mode. Does that make sense to you all?
Yeah.
So if I had a brush stroke, let's say I put my flow to 30, or let's say I put it to 60, it wouldn't let it go above 30. So Margaret, turn your density down to 10 for me, please, 30 for me. Now, Margaret's got it set about 30, don't have to bang on. If she's got a flow at 99% and now she runs through the sky, just do a thing through the sky for me, anywhere in the sky. Let me just get rid of my drawing so it doesn't confuse anyone. So just do a stroke through the sky. There you go. Now that should have been 100%, but Margaret set it to 30. So, and if you do it again, Margaret, do it once more. See, it won't go above 30, no matter how many times she strokes us. Now, do me a favour, Mark, turn density to 100. And now do a stroke. You see the difference?
Yeah.
So density sets the level of which you can go no further. So if Margaret's worried that when she works on the sky, she don't want to do much, she could set the density to 30. And no matter what she does with the flow, if she does it 10 and she wants to paint it in a bit of time, 5, because we said we're going to be an artist today. You could do 5. Every time you do a stroke, it does 5%, 5% more, 5% more, but you never go above 30. So that's in between your flow and your density. So what you might have to do now, Margaret, is Command Z and go back to where it was till you're there. Keep going back. But now they just stop there, Margaret. Remember, they have changed the way you can see history. If you go to your left panel, Margaret, on history, open that up. And you can go back there to where it said subtract brush. Yeah, go there. And that's where you are. So now you can go back to that point. So everything we've done before, he ignores it. Okay, so it's a bit like in Photoshop. You can go back in history. There are new snapshots, which I'm going to do as part of the handout, which is quite handy because you can do now split snapshots. So you can go in different directions and keep coming back. But anyway, so don't forget flow and density, so you can leave them both at 100% if you wish. The other thing Margaret had got set on there was auto mask. Okay. So what is auto mask, Linda?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was doing something else, Gary.
That's okay. Well, when you're doing your 100 lines, you can go back to doing what you were before. So 100 lines, I must listen to teach, especially because you're headmistress there. So what I'm saying to you is on the auto mask in her brush, she's doing a subtraction. She's got the selection of auto mask. What does auto mask do?
Makes an effort to select the bits that have gone over.
It's looking for a contrasting edge.
Yeah.
So if there's an edge, it tries to keep it within that edge. Yeah. Now, Margaret's doing well. Hey, the only thing I would say is when you get to something like this where it's a bit hit and miss, what's the best thing to do, Roger? Oh, Tony, you want to ask Tony? Tony, stop hiding. So, Tony, I've got a little area. It's causing me a problem. Can you see that haze around the house?
I'm here.
So what would you do to help Margaret do that? What would she do on the screen?
She could use a brush and just reduce the brightness a bit on the house.
Yeah, but look on the top left-hand corner. What's that telling us?
Still showing those.
Oh, so go.
Yeah, why don't we zoom in?
On your basic mode.
Yeah.
Go on to
So let's zoom in. Let's zoom into 100%. So if you do 100% at least, or whatever, you can now get closer to that house, can't you?
start moving your cursor.
So you can move that around. Now you can see where it's bleeding. Okay. So now, Margaret, you've still got that brush side. Look at your brush size again.
Because you're in.
So you can just move your brush over the image.
Okay, I'm in the
Now,
right thing. Yeah.
on there, when you come to use it, you'd have to click on brush in your mask again
We're
because you're in zoom mode at the moment. So where it says brush in your create new mask, yeah, go down a bit on where it says brush one. No, we go back to the mask where you was.
No, go to your base.
Click on your mask, Margaret, the round circle.
Ah,
Yeah. Click on sky to open it up. But on the text sky on the mask, that's it. Now click on the word brush.
Brush one.
Yeah, there you go. Now, if you hover it, now you can see you can see where you're subtracting, can't you? So if you move your brush now onto the actual image, you can see now that the brush, the actual mask is showing in the sky, not what you're removing. But you can see there's still an overlap, isn't there? So now you've zoomed in, you can make your brush a little bit smaller. How can you make smaller brushes on the fly, Roger?
On your rotate. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you get square brackets.
Square brackets key. How do you get the feather to change on the fly? So it's a hard edge.
You press the option or up button and then do it.
You can use this. I think you'll find it's just shift in square brackets. So hold your shift key down, Margaret, whilst you can see the brush, and then use your square bracket key. There you go. Can you see the feather's getting bigger and the feather gets small if you do shift and left square bracket? And of course, you can make that a bit smaller. Now, the other thing is, whoop, you've clicked on a different image. Am I doing that or are you doing it? I've not touched a thing here.
no,
So go back to your image.
see it.
That's the edit one.
God.
That's it. That's the one you're working on. Good. Now, what we're saying is that Margaret could make the brush a lot smaller so she could go across the roof. And how can you do a straight line? So to make sure you follow the contour of that, Louise.
Is it my sliders?
No, you hold your shift key.
Hold your
down.
shift key.
And
That's right. So you click on that point, hold the shift key down, click on that point, it will draw a straight line. So what I'm saying is that the actual brush, when you do that, your auto selection, your auto mask is pretty good, but it can still struggle. So zoom in and just check it. Yeah. Okay, so let's tidy that bit up then. So go to brush one, Margaret. Just go to your brush, it. Click on that, and then just make your brush a bit smaller, a little bit harder, and just go around the roof lines because they want to be a little bit better. I'll move that. I'll get rid of my drawing. There you go. So you can just tidy that up. Now, if you make a mistake, Margaret, can you see you bled into the sky now?
Yeah.
So make your feather a little bit smaller. So shift square, left square bracket. And go over to where it's gone above the roof of the house with your brush. Just put your brush on the sky. Bit smaller brush, a little bit. That's it. Now, too much, bit bigger. Now, don't forget, you've now removed, because you're subtracted, from the sky. But you can see you bled off. So if you hold down your option key now, it'll change to a plus, and you can paint that back in and be more precise. Yeah. So you can toggle between removal and addition. So there you go. Look, you've tidied that up. An absolute treat. So you can toggle between those two keys by using the option key. You're right, Roger. It's called a modifier key. So when you're doing work with that, every time you press the option key, it goes from whatever it was into its negative or positive state. And in case of Margaret, she's took some when she's cleaned up the house. She took a bit off the mask of the sky, which she didn't really want to do. So what she's done, yeah, you found some more there, Margaret. And what she didn't want to do was to take it off. So she holds down the option key, and instead of taking it off, it puts it back on. So you don't have to keep coming out and adding it and going back and putting it back on. So you can toggle between switching it on and off. Yeah, it's a bit more on those houses, the middle house and on the skyline, look. Yeah, a bit there. That's it. Tidy all those up. There's a little bit there, Margaret.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is with auto mask, I'm going to just stop you there, Margaret, because there's some more I want to just explain. Now, what Margaret's done, you're right, Linda, we used auto mask. On auto mask followed all these edges and it tried to find a contrasting point, which it believed, but it bled into other parts. Now, when you come to do Margaret, no, I said to you, Margaret, there's a little window there that wanted correcting, and it was just here. Oh, sorry, I keep changing to a different colour, and it doesn't always change different colour. I've got a new colour. There was a window here, and you see, and the window had, just clear all the drawings. The window had been picked up as well because it was a similar contrasting area to the sky up here. And it's also done a little bit around here as well. So what I'm saying is once you've gone across here with the auto mask and you've created a barrier, so you separated the sky from here, you've created this line down here, you can now go to your brush and turn off the auto mask here and paint liberally over all this area to make sure there's no bleed. Otherwise, what happens is, Margaret, when you paint over the house, it didn't quite get the cursor on that bit here. And what happened was it missed it because auto mask was looking for an edge and it wouldn't go past that edge. So you've got to tell it that ignore that. I've done the sky, now do the rest. So now you can paint liberally. As long as you don't go near the tree line, you can paint liberally and make sure there's no other there. And if you go onto your brush mask icon, you can see where you've removed it. So if you click, hover over the brush one icon in your mask panel, there you go. You can see now where you've got and where you haven't got. Yeah. And if you want that on all the time, how do you do it all the time? Well, you can show overlay on all the time. Yeah. Okay. So we've done that bit. Are we happy with that? There's a few bits, Margaret, in the sky, but for the sake of today, I'm pretty happy. So let's go back to fit again on the screen. Yeah, you can do that, Margaret. Yep, have a go at that. Won't hurt. The more you can do now before you go elsewhere, the better. Okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, go back to fit on your navigator. So you can just click your space bar if you wish and it'll go, or you can click fit. So now we've got a sky. Have we all got as far as that?
Gary, would you take it out of that boat so it can get rid of it easier later on?
Yeah, why not? Because we're going to cut it out anyway in Photoshop. But yeah, the more you can do now and make life easier, the better. Yeah. So make your brush a bit bigger. Yeah. And just liberally get rid of that. There you go. So you're all ready to go. So we've now got our sky done. So now we've done that, what we're going to do with the sky? Now, remember that when you use these panels, I'm going to ask Margaret to drag it out of the dock at the moment, just so the others can see what's happening. So drag that like this, drag it out. Now, you've now got all these sliders below it. And you've got exposure, and you've got contrast, you've got all the rest. So the mask will still show because Margaret's in her panel, in the mask panel, is saying show overlay. So Margaret's got show overlay shown. So this is why this is still showing pink. If you don't want to see that now, Margaret, you can just uncheck that. And now you can carry on. You know it's still there. You know it's selected. So what we're going to do now is we're going to consider what we're going to do. Now, what would you like to do to the sky, Margaret?
I usually put a little bit of dehaze on to start with.
Okay, let's have a look at dehaze then. Now, remember, you've got all these panels now. Now, you got to watch now because are you doing the whole picture now, Margaret, or are you doing the mask? Try the dehaze and see what happens.
The mask.
Good, just doing the mask. And this is why I said to you, you have to be ever so careful because now there's so many panels in here. If you're not careful, you'll end up doing something and you're not doing the mask, you're doing all the image. And if you're doing subtle change, you don't realise till it's too late, but you can always go back and change it.
I can't
Yeah.
find dehaze in.
It's on the normal one, isn't it?
No, it's got to be in this one.
Yeah, it's got to be in the mask panel. Margaret, do me a favour, just switch the mask off. Just go back to the settings just here to show everybody the mask disappears.
Well, I've only got
Click on the other side, that's it. So you can see there that Margaret's not changed the dehaze on the general setting, but she clicks the mask.
You're on
Click again, Margaret.
with the sky.
Yeah, and she's doing the haze. So you can keep going down, Margaret. These are all the panels. If there's too many panels, don't forget what I've said. Just stop there, Margaret. Margaret's not used this point colour yet. We're going to teach you that soon, but you can minimise that.
Gary, just stop. Ron, if you go down to there, it does the whole picture.
Yeah.
What we're saying, Gary, is I can't find dehaze in the masking panel.
It's in there. You make sure, as
Look at-
Margaret's done, she's clicked on the masking panel itself, so you know you're working in that and not in the overall adjustments. Margaret, just minimise point colour for me by hitting that triangle, so it don't confuse them.
Right,
You're not, and don't use the curve. Switch the curve off, and now you've got effects.
you're in the scope thing. So
Where's dehaze?
keep going.
Do you want me to have a look?
No, she's got it.
I've got it in the whole picture under the basic
No,
panel.
Right, let's share your screen because Margaret's doing really well on this and we want to keep it rolling. So let's unshare Margaret's.
Up here. Click, find the
It's
mask.
cake time.
Yeah.
Oh, you've,
It's okay.
you've clicked, if you click on there,
Not like it's
That's
mentioned
that's
to
the editing.
How many electricians it take to change a light bulb? Share your screen, Lindy Lou.
Hang on a sec.
Yeah. Tony, I'm taking Tony to Specsavers because if he gets any close to the screen, he'll be wiping his nose on the cursor.
He's being cheeky, isn't he?
I don't
He
seem
doesn't
to
know
have-
because he's got a very good quality screen, but to get everything on the screen is made the icon small, which makes it difficult for him to see. Linda, share your screen for me. There you go. Let's have a look.
It goes faster.
So what you're saying, Linda, is that you can't see that panel. Right, let's get this bigger. That's it. So the first thing is you've got to go and select brush 1. So go up and select in your mask, making sure you're on brush. Yeah, are you on brush? Wow, you've done some brushing on there. That's fine. Just click on brush so we can make sure it stays on. Now look on the right-hand panel now. You've got point color showing. Yeah, we can minimize that for the moment because you're not using point color. So minimize that. You're not using curves. That's fine. That's what you're looking for. Effects and detail, the two you should be on. So there's your effects. There's your dehaze. You just switch them off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget what we said last week and the week before, that these panels now are getting so big, these little triangles are quite important to switch them off and minimize them.
Yeah.
In the main panel below, you can do what's called solo mode,
Yeah.
in which if you're working in one area, you can switch off the detail or you can switch off the color calibration. But when you're in this panel, they're all showing. The only way you can do it is to minimize the ones you're not using. Okay.
Yeah. I just had a senior
It's fine.
moment.
No, it's fine. These things happen. Senior moments. Don't worry. I've had quite a few. It's my age. Probably not as many as some, but
Mm.
okay. Let's go back to Linda's, to Margaret's, because she was doing so well. Let's share your screen again, Margaret, and then we're going to ask the next person to take over. What time is it? Oh, gosh, you missed your tea break.
No, we haven't. Can we have one now?
You want to have a quick break before Margaret does the next bit? Because we're going to look at what Margaret's done on the... I'm going to just get control with Margaret before we have a quick break for tea. You didn't shout up, Roger.
You're too engrossed.
Okay, so don't forget, Margaret's got all the panel open on the right-hand side. And she's now, if you click, she's clicked on the mask. There's the mask. We know in the mask. Can you see the difference as well, Linda? When we do that, auto, black and white, and HDR show, and I click on the mask button, they all disappear. These are all the panels. So now, if Margaret scrolls down to where it said effects, just there, and she's got dehaze, and she can work on dehaze. Okay, but we've got to make sure we're in the brush and we're in the sky. Otherwise, you could end up changing, instead of just the sky, you can change all your picture. That's lovely, that, Margaret. Well done. So let's have a cup of tea and then we'll come back to this image, yeah?
All right.
Yeah.
Let's be quick then.
Okay.
Irrespective of age and health, everybody should know.
Yeah, of course they should. Yeah, and also the youngsters that are early 20s with the boyfriend, they should. My nieces.
Is that you doing
should
that, or
help, but-
Gary?
No, I'm doing it.
Are
I
we all
want-
ready?
I want to straighten it up as well, Gary.
And you know
You want to what, sorry?
Can I straighten it up now?
Yeah, let's do it together so they know what you're doing.
I know what I'm doing.
No, I know you know what you're doing, but they don't know what you're doing. Okay, so are we all ready to look at Watch with Mother?
Yeah, sit down, Ron.
Well, I'd rather be like.
So
that.
Margaret, so we've done this mask. We're all happy with the mask, but before we do, Margaret, what are we actually doing with this mask? So you done your, you went into your detail panel in the mask.
Yeah.
And you went down, we said, to the effects panel. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then we've got the choice where we could, to make sure we're getting on the brush in the sky. We're going to make sure we can do a dehaze on it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
So you put the dehaze and tell them what you feel so they can all copy what you've done. So what level are you going to go to, Margaret, and explain why you're doing it?
About 30.
What, minus or
No,
Plus.
plus.
plus?
Right.
Did you
My
start-
question to you is, everybody,
Oh, it's on mine.
looking
then.
at Margaret's sky, she's done a dehaze.
Yeah,
It's too dark on mine. I think.
What are the elements in the sky?
the blue and the
The
white.
blue and the white and the grey.
Yeah, the blue.
Mhm.
And there's some whites in there, the grey and whites.
Yeah,
So if Margaret wanted to improve the quality of the blues, what could she do? Louise, what could she do to the blues? If she wanted to make that blue better, what could she do without affecting the clouds?
Press the blue.
Go into the colour thing.
Press the blue.
Or
on
she could operate the tint. Margaret, just do me a favour, just slide the tint blue more to the left.
Tint.
Yeah, just do that. Now notice, not only does the blue sky change, but the clouds are going blue as well, aren't they?
yeah,
Because there's RGB, some of the white is made up with red, blue, and green. So people think, well, I'll just turn the blue, make the blue. This is where creative masks come in. So let's say that Margaret decided on this sky, she's done all this, but she'd like to only do the blues. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to complicate, because Brian's not here and Judy's not here. But Margaret could now do this adjustment, but based upon just the blue. How could she do that?
either the
Anybody?
temperature
Colour.
or the hue slider.
No. We could, under your mask, do what?
Point. Colour.
So if we come to our mask here, we've got our mask. What could we do? Oops, sorry. So we've got our sky mask. We could actually say on the sky mask, we could intersect mask with what?
Colour.
Colour. Who said colour?
Yeah,
The colour range.
Yeah, so you could say, well, actually, all these changes I only want to do on the sky, where the sky and the mask show, and it's a colour. So you could then do a dehaze based upon purely the blues. So you could make the blues. And then what else could you do? Well, you could intersect with a mask with a luminous range so that you only then brighten up the whites. Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So don't forget that intersect means and. It's a logical combination. I've made a mask of the sky and I want to turn it down only on white. So the sky and if it's white. It's the sky and if it's blue. So that's what intersects mean. They ought to say and, but it's a shame. So intersect means you've chose the sky and you only want to work in the blue area of the sky. So you intersect with a color range called blue. Does that make sense to you?
Mm.
And then if I want to do a mask of the sky and only affect the whites, you could say luminance range. Yeah. What I'll do you a bit of a hand. I'll do this image, Margaret, and I'll do those two combinations. And for next week, I'll show you how it works before we do our critique on the pictures. So I'm saying to you, if you was to want that sky to be blue or better or thing, you're using at the moment, Margaret, a dehaze, which is great, not a problem. And the sky, in this case, you might just get away with it. But if you wanted to make those clouds stand out and the blue look more vibrant, I would create the mask of a sky, and then I would intersect it with color range blue. and turn the blues down. It will not affect the sky. It will not affect the clouds. Yeah. And you could also say, I want to intersect it with a luminance range. So when you turn the whites up, it only affects the whites in the clouds. Yeah. There's different ways you can do it. I'll do that for you for next week. I'm not doing it now because I don't want to overcomplicate it and because Judy's not here and Brian's not here. Okay. So don't forget, intersect means and. So create a mask of the sky and only affect the color range blue. Yeah.
Mhm.
That all makes sense to you?
What's inside the mask?
So we're leaving that as it is because we don't overcomplicate. We're just learning the method of how to go from A to B today. Let's do it. So come out of that one. We're all doing a dehaze. So now, what else we're going to do? What else could you say we were going to do to this, Louise?
We're going to take it into Photoshop.
No, we're going to.
Yeah. What about the shadows? Let's look at the shadows on the rocks.
We've got rid of the shadows.
Well, if you look at the histogram, look at their peak. Where is it? In the middle, in the midtones, yeah?
Yeah.
So look at the histogram. Thank you, Maura. I'm just going to get my pen. I'm going to go for, I'll leave it on that colour. What I'm saying is there's an area here of interest that it's a bit dark and it's sitting about here on the histogram. This bit is showing all the most of the information is on the midtones. So it could be any of all this. It could be a little bit of this. It could be some of this, and it could be probably not this bit. That's probably about here. So that area here is about here. So look at the histogram. Now, Margaret wisely has got these switched on, these little tabs here. And she noticed that when we hovered over them, and if you all hover over them, there were some black lines, some blue lines appearing on the crack saying it's black. And I said to you all, I'm happy with the blacks. You can have a black. But you've got to be careful of the whites because there might be some textures. And there was in the houses and on the boat that we wanted to see without them being burnt out. So whites, you've got to be careful with the whites. The blacks, not so bad. But the whites, you've got to be careful, especially if there's textures in there that you want to show. So, what could we do to do the shadows? Well, we can come down, of course, to the shadow slider. So just lift that up, Margaret, lift the shadows. But the problem is, all the image gets brighter, doesn't it? Now, Margaret might say, actually, that's what I want to do. But it's still not got us all the detail back into here. So what could we do for that?
Yeah, a brush in the mask.
Get a brush. So let's go to a mask. And bear in now, because we can go between into Photoshop and go back to Lightroom, if we find that we've done too much or we've done a change in Photoshop and it's not quite working, we can go back to it. So we get a new brush, and what we're going to do, we're going to turn the shadows or the exposure up. I would try a little bit of shadows and a little bit of exposure. Remember that once you've done it, you can back it off. Yeah? So paint over that bit, Margaret, and see if you can find some of the detail in there. There you go. Look, there's some great detail in there, isn't there? Now, don't worry if you've overcooked it because we can back it off. Okay? Now, I would suggest at that point, Margaret, just add a little bit of warmth to it because as you're doing it, it's washing the colour out. So turn the temperature up a little bit and the saturation up a little bit. So that's it, just a little bit. Now turn the, that's it a little bit. Not that one, yeah. Just a little bit. Now remember that Lightroom now, the saturation is like a big brick. So just above it, there's something called Use Fine Adjustment. One below it. No, not that one. That's your shoe slider. A little checkbox just above it, look. Use Fine Adjustment. Yeah, and it makes things a little bit slower. So now you've got that, Margaret. You've done that. It may be it's gone a little bit over the top, but I think it's looking okay. We're getting there. Now, remember one thing. You've got this slider here. Can you all see that slider?
Mm-hmm.
What does that slider do, Roger?
Increases and decreases it.
It increases. You know, you're sounding more like a woman, Roger. I'm getting worried. It increases and decreases the amount of the effect that you've applied in that mass. So if you back it right off to the left, Margaret, amount, so people can see how it works. Can you see it's gone? Now turn it back up to full scale, to middle. So it says 0 or 100. And if you go too far, look, you're exaggerating it. So more to the right, it exaggerates the effect. More to the left, it fades off. So if you find that you like it, but you've maybe gone back a little bit, as you move that slider back, it will look at the changes you've made and move them back proportionally without, so it doesn't all go back in one go. It goes back proportionally. Okay. So are you all happy with that?
Yeah, except for mine don't work. Oh, yeah, it's working now.
Oh, it does. Right. One other thing I would do is I would highlight all the houses and just brighten them up, just so it looks like the sun's shining on them. It picks them out. We're trying to create levels of light. So we can create another mask. Now, just before you do, Margaret, just go back one. You're a bit quick. Go Command Z. Create a new mask. Yeah. But this time, try select subject or select background to see what you get.
What's the look? Subject.
Try select subject, see what it does. Sometimes it'll pick it up. No, it's picked up the bit you've done. Okay, so Command Z, create a new mask. Yeah, create a new mask. And this time try select background.
Thing up there.
Yeah. Those it's done it all. So that don't work. So we can go back one, Command Z. This time, create a make. What I'm saying is you often find something, we try objects.
We'll do it.
Oh, now then, this one, you have to, that's it, you paint over an area and it will try and find an object based upon that. That's it, just paint over it. This is brilliant, this is. Okay, now let's see what happens. Yeah, now that's it, it's found it all, can you see? So select objects is brilliant because you just paint blob over it and it will try and find edges. You've just missed a bit on those houses there. So paint over that bit. You might have to click on your component object 1, Margaret.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, to make sure it's active. It should be active. Oh, no, okay.
No,
Does it not
once
do
you've
it like
done
that,
it,
then
you-
just
you
go
did
over it?
Okay, then add a bit more to it then. Click on add.
Make it
Then
bigger.
brush, yeah, and paint over it. Now, did you see about that select object? You can paint with a brush roughly over an area and it will try and locate the object that you want to do. And I think that's worked well, hasn't it? Now, Margaret can increase the exposure on that. Just a little bit. Can't pick those out, not too much. Yeah, don't kill it. Do a little bit of shadows and then add a little bit more clarity to make them stand out a little bit. That's it. Just a little bit of clarity or texture. Texture is sometimes good as well on those. That's it. Nice picked, man. Now look how they stand out. Now, do a before and after, Margaret. / key.
Get that out of the way.
Yeah, so the / key, before and after. They are before and after. Already we've got something resembling something a little bit more, bit nice, isn't it? Probably how you saw it, Margaret. Yeah. So then, have we got anything else we can do on here in Lightroom that you feel would help us? Anybody?
Straighten it up.
Straighten it up. So Margaret says she wants to straighten up. So let's go for straightening them. So you don't mean crop and straighten, you want to correct the perspective. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go to transform and then you can choose your own lines. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you've got to select the guided that you've select guided, but you've got to select the little icon that's got the little grid on.
Oh,
when I've
Auto.
selected guided.
I don't.
Yeah, you have to draw lines now if you do guided, or you can try auto. Try auto. So what I'm saying, guided, let me just help you.
Oh, it's because I did that earlier.
Yeah, okay then. So guided, yeah, you've got to put lines on. You can see Margaret's put, oh, hang on, a pen. Margaret's put a line on there, so you've got a guided line. So that is guided. You can guide it using this little key here, and you come on here and you can put lines on.
The line on the other
So you put
side
that
where the
one.
houses are as well.
And then
Yeah,
what?
there's one here, look, yeah. So you're correcting any perspective errors, okay? Have you all followed that? You followed what Margaret's done there?
I've got the little grid up and I've gone on to the so I just draw a straight line down, do I?
Yeah, draw a straight line down. Look here where Margaret's done down that line there. And then she's drawn a line just there, and it just corrects for any distortion in the camera lens or
Does it
the
do it
full-
automatically?
And there's
No,
another one,
yeah, once you draw the lines on, it will do it automatically, yes.
we'll have at least 2 lines on for it to do.
Yeah.
And just, no, you got to get the level of the house. Oh, that's about right. That's about right. And just let go.
Yeah.
Now go back. Go back. It should have done it automatically.
Could do.
No,
Did you not
it's
auto?
made it more
Wouldn't that
wonky.
have done it right?
I
Just
tried it, but it skewed it right
Oh,
now.
did it? Because I did
Yeah.
auto and it seemed to straighten it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally I go to auto, but I tried that, but it just skewed it all
I
around.
And
found
once Margaret's done, she can put the thing back in the that's it, put the tool back in there.
yeah, I've lost with auto.
If you just switch it off, Linda, and then just so what I'm saying to you, Linda, if you don't want, like Margaret's done it,
Yeah,
if you switch this off, so click on the off button,
yeah.
and then grab this tool and drag it on, it will automatically go to guided. You don't have to press the button.
Yeah, I
And
understand.
then
that.
draw a line down here, click and drag, and then click and drag down a line of the hedge. You can see these houses are leaning back. That's what Margaret's saying. And she's just correcting them up.
I quite liked it when it looked more of an angle.
Winky wonky. Well, this is a nice thing about art and photography. You can, it's up to how you feel and what you see. Okay, you all happy with that?
Yeah.
Oh dear. What did you
Tony wants some help.
Are you okay? Is everybody okay?
Tony wants some help.
Tony wants some help. Do you want to share your screen, Tony? Is that what you want to do? Share your screen then, Mr. T, and then we'll look at going across to Photoshop. Let's do it. Oh, Margaret's there now.
I get confused with that. Upright bit.
I do, but I often just do auto.
Yeah.
While I'm using it. It does it. Seems to straighten it.
Yeah.
And then this, you just have to practice with, don't you?
If Diane waves now, it'll look like you're coming out Ron's ears. Oh, yeah. Ron's got ears coming. Anne's had his ears.
I don't use it. I only use bits and bobs. I don't really do.
Is he okay, Margaret? Linda, is he okay?
Yeah.
Tony, Margaret's just helping Tony.
Okay. Okay, now you're all ready.
I know. And then I just.
When Margaret gets back to her screen, what we're going to do next, Louise?
We're going into Photoshop. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Next
we're
week-
going into Photoshop. Is that right?
Yes.
So, Teresa, how are we going to go into Photoshop?
Command D.
I do photo editing.
Yeah,
Photo editing, yeah.
Photo edit as smart
Smart.
object.
Well
Yeah,
done. She's paying attention. She's getting good.
It doesn't
If you all want to do that while we wait for Margaret to catch up, because she's a bit slow. Open as a smart object in Photoshop. That's correct.
To open in 2023, which is all.
Yeah, depending which one you've got open.
Do it in that
Yes,
one.
but it's saying now, do you want to open in the Photoshop beta, which is already on?
You've got a choice. Right, let's just all stop you there. Last week, if I remember rightly, I said to you all, will you all make sure you've got an up-to-date Photoshop? And the update is 2024 Photoshop, or you can have the updated beta version. But you've got to set it in your preferences which one you're going to use. And I said, look, for the purpose of this class, let's all use Photoshop 2024, which means if you look at my screen,
So
and I'll share my screen and I'll get Lightroom up. I said to you all, go up to your Lightroom, go to preferences, and we said we would choose Adobe 2024 there. So everybody is doing the same. And if you remember, I said what we'll do when we go into Photoshop, we'll also set all the panels with a set workspace. So we all got the same workspace. Okay, remember that from last week?
yes,
It's already set.
mine
Good,
is-
I'm glad to hear
Yep.
it. So make sure everybody's got 2024 for Judy, and for Brian, if you're not sure, let me know and I will have a look with you. Okay, are you all right with that? So we should be Margaret's screen again.
Oh, it's opening now. Before it just said it still took it back to beta, but I don't know if it's because I.
Did you say, Linda, you open in 2023?
I've changed it now, but
Good.
I've got I want to get
Up there at 2020.
get it
But you
into
know, when I just did that first, it didn't. say
into
beta.
20. I've
I
got
don't know why, 'cause I can
25
change
whatever
that,
point
but
one
sometimes it
open.
takes a while
Yeah.
to-
But it's not in my dock. And
Yeah,
oh, hang on,
Right.
yes, hang
For some
on.
reason it didn't.
Before you go, Linda, I'll show you how to put the updated one in the doc. So we'll do that at the end of the class. Don't go before I show you.
Yeah, I think I've got it.
Okay, now then, Margaret, did we do backslash key? Just a backslash key again.
Oh, this is annoying, isn't it? What are you doing now?
Before and after.
I want to open it in.
Before, yeah, there's a distortion. Look at that. That's why everybody, Louise and everybody are looking. Do it again, Margaret. Show them why we corrected the angle. Before
Up in
and
23.
after. Look at the difference. Yeah.
It's already open, that's why. So get rid of that one, close it down,
Close Photoshop
and then
altogether.
start it again.
Yeah. And then you can open it up. So, Margaret, we're going to do photo editing smart objects.
So I've got 24 there.
You know, on,
What's that over there?
Yeah, that's this
Yeah,
23.
Correct.
Look
I
at
ended
that.
up having to
That's
call
it.
new
It should open up Photoshop with a lion and a tiger and a
Back into your photo in
Put
like
your
room and
slip in
like
there,
a puma.
take it into like Photoshop.
because I looked
Yeah.
at this time.
Tiger and a leopard.
His face.
You got it?
Yeah, pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, that should open up in 2024 if that's where your preferences are set.
Yeah. Tell me, Linda, when everybody's got the same picture, what's on the screen that Margaret's got?
Yeah, hang on a minute.
What, it'll be,
Go back down to your, sometimes it doesn't fully open
I
up. Go
think
back
it does.
into,
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
you there?
Is it
Yeah,
24?
2024.
Yeah, right, I've got it now, go.
Okay, has everybody else got this picture on the screen?
Got it?
Oh, my boys are 6'.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
we've
think
all
it was
got
me
it.
being so tiny, but my husband's 6'2".
Right, this is where you all got to watch the screen. If they touch the keyboard in the next 2 minutes, Linda, just slap them with your ruler, okay? So what I'm saying to you is that every time we come to work together, we always seem to have a problem is that, oh, that's not what's on my screen. Now, if you remember, I said to you last week, and I'm going to do this with probably do it with Margaret, and then we'll look at that for next week. I'm going to request control. You'll notice that on Margaret's screen, you'll probably have not got the same settings as what Margaret's got. Margaret's got her adjustments panel there. She's got an info panel and a histogram there. And she's got 3 things here, which is channel paths and layers there. And she's also got several things, icons here, which are brush tools, character tools, text tools. And then she's also, I know she's realized that she's got a property panels that's actually outside in its own separate dock. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Have you done this on purpose, Margaret, or is it just evolved?
Just evolved.
Okay. I want you all to do, if you don't mind, Mark, if you don't mind me evolving, and let's set everybody the same. Let's go up to where it says view at the top of your screen in the options bar. Everybody can do this now. You don't have to do it with a ruler, Linda.
You in the options bar.
Yeah. We just want to check a few things. We have got something on there called extras. Is it checked?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing is you've got things like snap and rulers. Leave all those off for now, and we're going to talk about those. We're going to add those as we go along. What we want to do is now go to the one that says window at the top of your screen. So go to it, window. That's it. Now, then, can you see there? We've got window, and that's what's showing you what Margaret's got set at the moment. She's got the adjustment panel on, which is correct. She's got the histogram, yeah, she has, and she's got the layers panel, she has. They're all active at the moment. It's showing that we've got channels, paths, and info, but they're not active at the moment. They are behind histogram and they're behind layers, but they are there, they are available. What we'd like to do is to make everybody's the same workspace. And the key ones are as follow. Let's go up to where it says workspace, please, Margaret. Yeah. And what we're going to do, she's got a thing called Marg's workspace. Let's go to reset Marg's photo workspace. So if you've got one open, whichever one you've got open, just reset it. So if you reset that, Margaret.
I've got essentials.
I've got essentials, 3D, motion, painting,
But
photography.
you've only got one ticked. You've got essentials ticked.
If you should all have essentials, and if doubt, so I've just reset Margaret so it's all back into one panel. But what that's done, that's reset what Margaret had. So Margaret had set her own panel called Margaret's Workspace. We've reset it, but we've reset all those things. So there's only one dock, and I'm going to just do it in red. Just 1 second. I have to do two things at once here. So all Margaret's now that was in 2 is in 1, but this is not the default. That area there. So what Margaret's going to go back now to the window. So go back to window, Margaret, and with workspace. And we're going to do essentials default. Everybody click on essentials default. Yeah. And you'll see all your layers panel, bang, gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Now on the, it's come up, Margaret's still got the tooltip shown, which is fine. And there are some new tools, triangular tool, remove tool, object selection tool, which is brilliant. And the frame tool. Frame tool is good for when you're creating posters or artwork or you're linking to Illustrator. Frame tool is good. It's very similar to workspace, but let's say workspace. It's very similar to canvas size and things, but it's not. But anyway, let's just reset. Now, what it's saying is we have now reset. Has everybody done that, by the way?
Yes.
You've all got essentials like Margaret. Have you got this new tools found come up?
Just
No.
click essentials.
But we haven't got that though, have we? Mine was already ticked anyway, but we haven't got this panel.
Okay. That's because what we did is last week we turned off probably the tooltips up here in the preferences. Don't do it now, but we'll come back to this and I'll try and do a bit of a few notes for you. What's it saying to Margaret is, you've got your tooltips. You've just said you want to default back to the essentials, which is the basic panel that Adobe suggests when you first start using Photoshop. And it's saying, oh, by the way, Margaret, in your left-hand panel, you've also got your toolbar. And in the toolbar, there are some new items in there. Would you like me to add them to it? So it's basic. So what they're saying is these tools now are under the very basics that they believe you should have working in Photoshop if you're just a new user. So if Margaret wants to do that, she's got 3 options. She can create a new tool group and keep the old one, or reset it so it's default. I would set to reset because we're going to save this as our essentials. And I know you're not all going to do this, but I'll do this with you next week when Brian and Judy are back. But I just did that to show Margaret so you can see. Now, one last thing. I'm looking at the time, 11:08. Okay. I'm going to get now Margaret's move tool. And I want you to all get your move tool. And I want to just very quickly talk about these dots on the right-hand side. You all happy with that?
Mine is slightly different, Gary.
Move tool, but
What
Yours is totally different, Roger. What's different?
dots.
Well, that last new tools thing, I never had that come up.
No, I just said you probably won't do because we turned the tooltips off last week.
Dots.
I'll do that with you next week with Judy and Brian's back, so they've all got the same. Okay. So have you got a similar panel now to what Margaret's got on the right-hand side? Has anybody not got that?
I haven't, Gary.
Louise,
No, I haven't either.
and neither has Roger.
Right, let's share your screen then, Louise. One of you, for whoever comes first, Roger or Louise.
Where do I get Zoom from? Can't even find you, Gary.
Roger's got it. Okay, Roger's on.
You do command and tab.
Right, Roger, do me a favor. Just click on Photoshop at the moment, anywhere on the screen, so I can get the top menu bar back up. Now go to window for me. And do me a favour, Roger, will you go to your tool on your left-hand side, hit the V key, because you've got your selection tool showing and you don't want to do a mistake. So hit V for victory,
You've got all this open, haven't you?
V for victory, or go get your move tool, whichever's quickest. Okay.
Ah,
Okay, now go to window.
What was that? Command and.
Don't worry, don't worry. Essentials. Just click on Essential Default for me again. Now, which version software are you using, Roger?
25 as far as I know. 25 as far as I know.
Let me just have a little look. 1 second. I'm going to request control. I don't want to see why it's different. Do me a favor, do preferences. Yeah, so I can see what version it is. About Photoshop for me. So 25.00. If you all go up to the same point and all tell me what version software you're running, please.
25.00.
Okay. And what are you doing, Margaret and Linda and Teresa?
25.
Teresa's probably on less.
Oh, I'm on the same, Gary,
There is an
25.
update.
I updated.
What are you on, Ron?
It's 25.00 at the moment, but I've got an update to do to bring it up to 25.01.
Yeah, I'm on 25.01. So, Margaret, what are you on?
Let me have a look. 25.
Interesting. Why Roger's different? Okay.
Mine's the same as Rogers. Mine's the same as Rogers.
Okay.
When we got here.
How frustrating. Okay.
How do you get rid of
You just click anywhere on the thing that's showing you the actual window. It'll go away.
Harry,
Yeah.
Louisa's setup was exactly the same as mine, with all that down that side.
Okay. I'm just gonna have a look. Reset essentials.
You've got the things down there,
Yeah.
like. Oh, I have
Hmm.
same 25.
How bloody annoying. That should all be the same. That should end up being everybody's got the same.
Are you on essentials there?
How annoying. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That is really annoying. That's bloody Adobe for you. It should, everybody should be the same.
You think you're doing everything right, and then it does this, and then it.
Exactly. I mean, that's saying, Roger's right. It's saying essentials default, and I've even reset the essentials. So if I go to graphics and web,
Oh, should I go down to reset essentials?
Yes.
right, yeah, and I'm going to do it again with Roger's default, window, workspace, reset essential. It should all be the same, and it's not. That is so goddamn annoying. Okay, I'm going to have for the last 2 minutes. I'm going to show you how to get the same. So I'm going to share Margaret's screen again. So might as well carry on using Margaret. So Margaret, share your screen again for me because you've got 25.0.0.
Command tab is that?
Yeah. And I'm going to go up to just bump me the top panel, please, so we can see window again because I can't get it for you. You have to probably click on Photoshop to activate it. Click anywhere on the screen. No,
I
it's
see.
come back up. Yeah, it's because you weren't actually in that panel. And then go to workspace for me. And it said essential. Reset essentials for me again. Yeah.
Oh.
Right. It has reset. Okay.
Same as mine now. That is.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Did it last time?
I don't know. I just wanted to just check whether it had selected it. But we've got it. Okay, we've got it. Anyway. So,
They've got different.
yeah, it might be because even though it says defaults, the way you do the color swatch gradients are all slightly different. Yeah. So can I suggest, let me take control. Everybody watch this. Don't do it. We'll all do it together next week because we're getting to the end of the class. So let's all do this next week. Can you see on the screen on Margaret's computer, it's got color swatches, gradients and patterns at the top. Can you all see that? And I'm going to draw this just so because Brian and Judy's not here, but I'm going to do it with her next week anyway. You've got this panel here. Can you see it? And you'll notice there's a line here and there's a line here. Can you see that? There's a line here and there's also a line here. Can you all see those? There's a break in each one. Now, these are docking points.
Mine's not the same as yours.
So watch, don't touch it, Margaret, Linda, just watch what I'm just saying and just how I explain. What we can do, we can grab these panels out. Oops, I've not got control of Margaret's screen. Sorry, Margaret. Can you just give me permission, please?
Bronze is different.
Don't worry. I'm going to do it all. We'll all do it together next week. Right, I've got control. So what I'm saying is, if I grab this panel of Margaret's, can you see, I can drag it out of there. And as I move it around, can you see I draw those lines? There's one there, and there's one there. Now, these are docking points, and there's also one there. So what it's saying, I'm holding the mouse key down. If I move it to any of these points, that's where it's going to dock. Well, I want it to dock on that panel there. Bang. If I let go now, it's on that docking. And if I drag it to that one, it'll put it there. So now I'm building this panel down this right-hand side. Can you all see that? And I'm doing the same with the properties panel. I'm going to drag that and put it just there. Now, the reason why I've done that is because we tend to work in layers. We don't do an awful lot as photographers in certain areas, but I certainly want these to be on. The other thing you might want to add to this collection is I'm just going to clear the drawings, 1 second. You might want to go up to window, Margaret, for me, please. At the top of the screen. I want to add some more. Now, I would like Margaret to add the hold on a minute. No, come down. I'm going where it says 3D actions. I'm just checking you got your actions. Let's put actions on. So you click on that, and it's added the actions to the panel. Can you see that? And go back to window again. And we're going to add to that. We've got the history open at the top. Let's look at character. Click on that, and it puts that in as well. Can you see now it's got all the characters? If you want to do any text, okay. I don't think you need to add any more to it at this moment. The only the one I'm looking for is the adjustments panel, and I think you've already got that on. So down on now, if you hover over these, it should tell you what they all are. Yeah, oops. We've got, that's it. I'm going to put that back in there. I've lost control of your screen. I've got it. So you can pull these off, or you can leave them in there, or we can expand them. When you click on them, they'll expand. Can you see? See, I'm clicking on one of these are Margaret's, and it's expanding them. And that's because in these panels here, we've asked it to expand. So this is this little arrow here. Can you see this little tiny arrow at the side? You've got that, and it expands and contracts. Yeah, you can hide it and bring it back. I am suggesting till we get the others back next week, we now go to window, Margaret, and we're going to do workspace. And we're going to now create a new workspace. Can you see it? Third one down in the fourth, in the second. Keep going down. Keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. Next one, there. Click on that one. And we're going to call that class basic or class essentials. Call it class essentials because it's the essentials panel. And I want you to click on all those three things: keyboard shortcuts, menus, and toolbar, because it asks you if you want to upgrade your toolbar, and you said yes. And we're going to save it. Now, what I'll do for next week, we'll do this and we'll add this so everybody has got exactly the same screen. Is that okay with you all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've already brought it in here. We've got it as a smart object ready to go for next week. What I want to do now is just do a save and close because it's end of the day. So we can do Command and S to save it and Command and W to close it, or you can just go up and just close it. Whichever you're comfortable with, and we'll go back to Lightroom to check it's gone back. Okay, so you can all do a save and a close, and then go back.
Sorry. When
Yeah.
I'm doing Command and S,
Yeah.
and there's a red border goes around the picture, and it won't do anything else.
Okay, let's have a look what you've got set as then. Okay, then do file and we'll do a save that way. And then file and then close. Yeah, so what it's saying, it's just saving it in the background. That's what it was. It might be that you're getting a bit short of memory and it's having to save it and it's doing it now in the background and it will close as it's finished now. It'll close when it's finished saving. So now if you do Command and Tab and go back to Lightroom, there you go. And you should all be back there now, and you should have an image that says whatever it was. It's now a TIFF file, isn't it? And that's ready for next week. Now, can I just point out something to you, Margaret? Go back to one of those images you just shown me. Stop there. Stop. Don't move. Now, that's your original, isn't it? Yeah. That we did the work on. I've lost you. Are you still there?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Interestingly enough, you've got a virtual copy of that as well. Can you see that little turn up one? So you've got your DNG, that one. You've got that one, which is an untitled TIFF. You've got that one, which is a DNG and a copy. I think that's the one. And you've also got that one. So you've got to watch which files you're working on for next week. The reason why I'm raising this with you, can you all see, look under the histogram, everybody, on Margaret's screen, on the big screen. Watch what happens when I go to one of these others. Notice something under the histogram. What's changed?
The highlights on the red and the black.
One thing even worse than that.
Worse.
Look.
It's dropped a bit off the side.
No. Margaret's original picture is working, but not in the up-to-date version. Can you see that
Yeah.
flash?
Not my original.
Yeah, but what it's saying is there, it's saying that you're working in a previous version of Lightroom. So if you click on that, process version, if I click on that, and it's saying, oh, by the way, you've got an update, but you've not updated these. Do you want to update them? And you can update that one or all your film strip. So some of your pictures, for some reason, have not updated to the latest version. So if there's any doubt, click on update all film strip and it'll update. No, I won't know that. There's individuals. Okay. Go to the next one to it, next to the side of it. Other way. That one's got it. Has that gone? Yeah, there you go. Look. Now this time click on it because the girl down here, some of these images have got it. So this time do update all. It will update them all. Yeah. It will clear. There you go. So watch out for that when we do updates. Sometimes some of these old pictures, I don't know why, it's done it to me once or twice, but just update them. Just watch for those symbols, little warning symbols. Okay. Right. So we're in a position next week. I will send a copy of this to Judy and to Brian, and then they can follow this, what we've done, and go from there. And we'll carry on next week. Make sure you send me some images for next week. Did anybody not go to Burley?
No, I think we all went.
No, Roger didn't go.
Oh, no, Roger didn't go.
Okay, Roger, you find some images you've done recently, and then we'll do our normal critique and best image. Now, the challenge was I mistakenly, because Teresa's disappeared, but I wanted to talk to her. I said fear. Because when you said Burley, I thought, oh, there's a horse thing on. But you meant Burley as in you're looking at all the things. But the subject was fear. So I hope you all had a look for something that frightened you.
We
looked at each other.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, I think Teresa took a picture of you like as a reflection, and that frightened us. So that's what she was looking at. So that's what we're going to do. So you want the images, but for next week, we're going to do this workspace with Judy and with Brian, and also we will look at obviously pictures, and then we'll carry on doing the work on the image, this process. Okay.
All right then.
Champion, well done. Did all right today.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care and don't drown.
Bye.